Scary stories to tell if you dare. Collected folklore retold by Joe Oliveto. The picture. Laura took great pictures. She always had her camera with her, taking photos of her friends, family, and pets. But it never really bothered anyone. Her work was so good that some people would even pay her to take pictures of them. Her favorite thing to photograph, though, was the woods. She loved the trees and the rocks and the streams. If the weather was nice, sometimes she'd camp out there for the weekend. When she came back, she knew she'd have hundreds of photos to look at. Sometimes she would bring a friend along, but not always. That weekend, she woke up early and headed straight for the woods. She wanted to get a nice picture of the sunrise. After that, she decided she'd spend the rest of the day getting as many pictures of the trees as she could. Then she would pitch a tent and grab some sleep. It was a very nice day. Laura had packed food, but she was having such a good time that she almost forgot to eat it. When night came, she was surprised at how quickly the day went. Laura pitched her tent, ate a quick meal, and went to bed. She'd been walking all day and was very tired. She left the camera by the door of the tent. That way, she could grab it and take more sunrise pictures in the morning. It didn't take long for her to fall asleep. When she awoke, the sun was already up, so she packed her things and hurried back to her car. She was excited to get home and look at her pictures. They were all perfect. The photos of the sunrise looked beautiful. So did the photos of the trees, and Laura was very happy with all of them. Until she saw a picture she didn't take. At first, she wasn't sure what she was looking at. When she realized what it was, a shiver ran down her spine. The picture was of her, sleeping inside the tent. The guest. The man lived alone in a big house, but for a long time he hadn't felt like he was alone. He heard strange noises at night, like someone was moving around in the other rooms. Food would often go missing. Sometimes he'd go into town to do some shopping. When he got back, certain things would be different. Maybe a chair wouldn't be where he left it, or the curtains would be closed, even though he knew he left them open. He told people in town about it. A lot of them said his house might be haunted, but he didn't believe in ghosts. Still, he decided to set up video cameras in some of the rooms. When he went out, he would turn them on. If there was a ghost, it would show up on video. He hid one camera in the kitchen, one in his bedroom, and one in the living room. Then he left. He stayed in town for hours, and by the time he got back, it was night. The old man took a seat at the kitchen table and started watching the videos. First, he watched the video of his bedroom, then the one from the dining room. There was nothing in either of them. He was starting to get tired and feeling pretty foolish. This is silly, he told himself. I've just been imagining things. But he decided to watch the kitchen video before he went to bed. It would be easier to sleep if he knew there was nothing to be afraid of. For a few minutes, nothing happened. He was ready to turn the video off when he noticed something. In the video, one of the big cupboard doors opened. Out of it crawled a skinny woman with stringy black hair. Her face was pale, and her clothes were almost shreds. She took some food out of the pantry and sat at the table to eat it. Then she crawled back in the cupboard and closed the door behind her. The old man was frozen with fear. He never checked that big cupboard. He barely ever thought about it. He didn't have a big family to feed, so he didn't keep anything inside of it. And he was sitting right next to it. After a long time, he was able to stand up. He walked out of the front door and went straight to the police station. At first, they didn't believe him, but they decided to check his house just in case. When they got there, they found the woman from the video hiding in the cupboard. They found out she was homeless and had broken into the old man's house one night when he was away. The police told the old man she'd been living in his cupboard for almost a year. The man in the road. Adam was driving down a dark road in the woods. It was late and he wanted to get home. There was no one on the road but him. Up ahead, he saw something strange. As he got closer, he realized it was a young man lying on the side of the road. He looked like he may be hurt. Adam knew he should stop and help, but for some reason, he didn't. Something just didn't feel right. Instead, he kept driving. As he drove away, he looked in his rearview mirror. He thought he saw the figure of other people standing behind him, but it was dark. Adam told himself he was simply imagining things. He drove almost another 5 miles before pulling over and stopping. Now, he felt like he had been silly before. The man could be dying, Adam told himself. I have to go back and see if he's okay. Adam turned around and drove back to the spot where he had seen the man. He wasn't there anymore. Instead, there was another car parked on the side of the road around the same spot. Adam parked his car and got out. He looked around for the man he had seen, or the driver of the parked car, but he couldn't find anyone. I think there's a police station at the end of this road, he told himself. I'll let them know what I saw. Adam got back in his car and drove to the police station. When he got there, he told the officer on duty about the man on the side of the road and the parked car. The officer looked very serious when Adam finished his story. Wait right here, he said. The officer rushed into another room. Adam heard him talking to another police officer. He couldn't hear what they were talking about, but it sounded important. After a few minutes, the officer came back to ask Adam a few more questions. What's all this about? Adam said. You're very lucky, young man. A gang of murderers have been tricking people this way. One of them pretends to be hurt on the side of the road while the others hide in the woods. When someone stops to help, the rest of them jump out of the woods and carry the person away.